Happy April Fool's Day. Now this video is not an April Fool's joke, but you know what is a joke? The wide release movies that came out today. Yeah, the movies that came out today were God's Not Dead 2, which, judging from the trailer and all the groans myself and the entire theater were getting during that trailer viewing, it's going to be really bad. Again, who knows? This just looks like one of the types of Christian movies that really upsets me. But again, it's just a trailer, so I can't judge the movie until I actually see it. And it might mean I have to watch God's Not Dead, which I haven't seen the original yet. I'm already dreading it. And the other wide release that came out today, Meet the Blacks. Had no idea about this movie until today. Looked it up, because I'm like, it came to our theater, so it must actually have a pretty decent wide release. And so I looked it up, because our theaters, we rarely get anything that has any sort of limited release, and only the very commercial wide releases do come out into our theater. But then again, this week didn't have anything big. The only big movies it had was apparently Meet the Blacks and God's Not Dead 2. But I looked up the trailer for Meet the Blacks. It's a spoof movie of The Purge. What? It looks like 50 Shades of Black bad or Haunted House bad. It looks like a Marlon Wayans film without Marlon Wayans. You know what? Thankfully there was a movie that came out earlier this year at a limited release that gets a wide release in today. So thankfully the other theater I have got Hello, My Name is Doris. Now granted, I know nothing about this movie except the actors involved. But it's gotta be better than Meet the Blacks and God's Not Dead 2. So I'm seeing that Saturday with Dad. Hopefully it's good. But because I do movie reviews, I feel like I definitely have to still see Meet the Blacks and God's Not Dead 2. So you know what? Free movie ticket. So yeah, thankfully out of the 3 movie theaters that I have in town, I have membership for 2 different ones because out of the 3 theaters, there's 2 different companies. So one owns 2 theaters, the other owns the other. And because I'm some sort of member for each one, I get free stuff. And during my birthday, they're like, oh, to celebrate your birthday, here's something free. And so I got free tickets this year. And I haven't used the one with 2 theaters yet. And they got God's Not Dead and they got Meet the Blacks. So I'm going to use my free ticket because it expires on the 7th. So that's before April 8th comes out when Hardcore Henry and The Boss comes out. So, and maybe possibly Demolition. I don't know if that's going to come to our theater or not. So it's time to use my free ticket. I don't know which one I'm going to use it on, but I'm going to either use it on God's Not Dead 2 or Meet the Blacks. And I'm going to watch them Tuesday. Because, you know what? Tuesday, every showing in every theater in town is $5 no matter what time it is. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this crazy lineup for today, for April Fool's Day. Because clearly the only ones going to the movie theaters on April Fool's Day are fools apparently this year. But I figured, you know what? I'll make this into an update video and tell you what's going on. Now, I recently today uploaded finally my Cabin Fever review. Now, the review is 2 parts, and each part is over 20 minutes long, so you're going to be in it for the long haul, if you decide to watch it. It's my first of a video series that I'm going to call In-Depth Movie Reviews. They're not really in-depth, they're just really long, and I go through the whole movie, basically. So I figured that'll be my first one, that way I can compare and contrast with the original and the remake. I do plan to do more of these, particularly the next one will be 400 Days because apparently it has a cult following and a lot of people hated my review because apparently I didn't understand the movie. I did understand the movie, I just didn't like it and I sort of half-assed the review. Not half-assed, but I just sort of I didn't feel this is going to be a movie that would be popular or have a cult following. And I didn't explain in great detail of why the movie doesn't quite make sense and why there's so many continuity errors throughout the movie because I thought it would be obvious, but apparently it does have a cult following. So that'll be the next in-depth review and it could take a while because it's going through the entire movie, and it could be several parts. And Cabin Fever in-depth review took me 2 days to edit the entire thing. I also have a movie review that I did film and plan to edit sometime pretty soon. Probably after I upload this video, I'll be editing it. It's called Emily, and I really enjoyed that movie. If you never heard of it, look it up. It's basically an evil babysitter type movie, but it actually does it really well. I also have seen Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. It's something that I really had to think about before I do a review on it because, I don't know, I'm really mixed on the movie. And so eventually I will film a review for it and upload it, I just don't know when. Now I have missed a lot of movies this year so far, and I do have the ability to see about maybe half of the ones I missed. And so that I can get through them as quickly as possible, I'm watching the shortest movies first so that I can have more movies during a day that I can watch. And so let me list off a few movies that I'm definitely going to see pretty soon, because the runtime ranges anywhere from 1 hour and 20 minutes to 1 hour and 40 minutes. For the February movies, there's an animated film called Snow Time, which looked really... It looks like I'm going to be very bored with that movie. And then I also have 2 foreign language films, one called Rams, which actually looks really interesting and darkly funny. And the other one is The Mermaid, which looks kind of interesting. As for March films, so that I can quickly get enough movies to actually make a March countdown, I have Get a Job, which stars Miles Teller and, is it Anna Kendrick, I think? I can't remember what. The poster will say who it is, I just can't remember off the top of my head right now. The Confirmation, which I don't know anything about. All I know is that it has the kid from St. Vincent and Midnight Special, and it has Clive Owen in it, so that just made me interested in figure out what this movie is. Another movie that I don't quite know anything about is Glassland, which I know has the kid from Voyage of the Dawn Treader and We're the Millers, and he was in The Revenant. Also another shot in the dark because I don't know anything about it, Remember. Also Road Games, which, look at that poster. Doesn't that look like a Mad Max poster to you? I'm worried that I don't know what it's going to be like. And a movie that looks really interesting and could be a nice blend of horror comedy, it's They're Watching. And then 2 movies I've heard really bad things about, which I do feel like I need to see them so I can have a worst of list, because all I have in the worst of list for March is Allegiant, and I gave that 2 stars. They are The Other Side of the Door and Camino. Then I'm also able to see 2 other April films, which are Kill Your Friends and The Dark Horse, or just Dark Horse. Cliff Curtis is in that one. And so there, other than the movies that come out in theaters, those movies are movies that I plan to see pretty shortly, and I just don't know the order of which I'm going to see them in. It depends on which ones are the shortest, because the shortest run times will be watched first. And March movies will have a little bit more importance so that I can get a March countdown going. But anyway, there's my little update. I just felt like I wanted to talk about the movies that came out on April Fool's Day, and while giving you a little update on what's going on with me. So, thanks for watching, and this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.